Not bad, not bad. Ooh, 2 in a row. Ooh, good one. Yeah, dead center. Don't get her mad at you. Good one. Well, it's a Tuesday afternoon. We're up in the top of the Little Belt Mountains and up near a place called Kings Hill. We're camped out. So we're just going to hang out here for a couple of days, kick back and see what kind of trouble we can get into. Well, we get asked kind of frequently about why we don't camp in Montana more often in the summertime, and it gets pretty hot, and up here in the forest it gets really buggy. Not just mosquitoes, but horse flies and bees and who knows, a million kinds of bugs. We just put on repellent and live with it. We use that picaridin repellent mostly now because it doesn't have a smell like DEET does, so it's much more pleasant to wear. And it's funny because the bees or the flies will come right up at you and then they'll turn away at the last second, you know, so they get a whiff of that picaridin and they don't land on you. But it's the kind of thing where no matter if you're using 100% DEET or picaridin or something else, if you leave a spot open on your skin the size of a dime, they'll bite you there. They'll bite you through your shirt. You know, sometimes you got to put on 2 shirts or you got to spray your shirt. But anyways, that's the one thing that makes camping in Montana not too pleasant, but it's just not a Montana thing. It's an everywhere thing, I'm sure. Speaking of bugs, you know how you get those warm summer evenings back east and you sit out on the front porch? It's still warm enough to be outside and just watch the fireflies. Well, we don't have fireflies here and we don't have warm evenings either. When the sun goes down in Montana, it gets cool even in the middle of summer. And it's excellent campfire weather, but Linda and I don't do campfires, and a lot of time during the summer you can't anyway because of the burn bans. But we don't get warm evenings like that where you like to just sit out, and I guess you could sit out under a sleeping bag and watch the stars. So we were walking along in the woods here and we found this big hunk of birch bark. The only thing is, birch doesn't grow around here. White birch does. What's that? Weeping white birch, yeah, Linda?
And it's an ornamental.
Yeah, but this isn't that. Somebody brought this in from somewhere else, and it was laying next to a campfire, so. But the thing about birch is, it's like forest gasoline. It's easy to start a fire with.
Okay.
Ooh, there you go. See, that fat wood takes, the birch and the fat wood take off like, look at the black smoke. Yeah. Where's the hot dogs?
It's a little tiny one for a little tiny one. Little smokies.
Good morning, sunshine. How are you?
Good morning. I'm sunny.
Well, we did end up with a beautiful day today, didn't we?
Oh yeah.
Well, we were lucky to find this spot too. The reason I say that is because Linda and I came up here yesterday looking for a place to camp, and we went down the major roads where all the campsites are, dispersed camping, not campgrounds, and there's lots of places to camp except for one thing. They're all full. Now today is Wednesday, so that was Tuesday. So we're retired. We purposely come up here during the week so that it's not all crowded and we can get a spot and stay for a couple of days, and before the weekend comes, we head home. But the problem that we're running into right now, and I don't want to harp on this, but I've got to bring it up. People are bringing their trailers up here and they're parking them early in the week and then going home so that the trailer will have a campsite come the weekend. So you drive by and every campsite is full. Somebody's already in it, but the slides are in and there's nobody home. And nobody shows up until Thursday or Friday, you know, when they finally come out. And if they don't do that, then they're pitching a cheap Walmart tent in a camp spot for the same reason and leaving it. Or maybe they come up and camp on the weekend and then they plan on coming back the following weekend, so they leave their outfit there, or they pitch that tent and they take the campsite for the whole week even though they're not using it. We almost went home yesterday. In fact, it got so close that this was like a last resort, and we're pretty far back in here. And even here, there's this is the only spot. There might be a couple of others that were places where you could pull in, but you're not supposed to use a spot that's not already it's not developed, but it's supposed to have a campfire ring, and you're supposed to not be making tracks to go in there. So you got to pretty much use the dispersed camping sites that are already available like that. So I don't know what to say about that. They're not doing anything wrong. Well, to me they are. But it's like you get, I think, 14 days in a spot or something like that. But what a shame, because all the spots are taken and nobody's in them. I see deer out in the distance. We had deer in the campsite last night. Linda and I stood really still. And this little button buck, little spike buck, he came walking around camp. He walked up within touching distance of me. I was frozen. I just stood there, you know, real stiff. Didn't move, didn't blink or nothing. And he came right up to me and looked at me like, what the heck are you? He even winded me. He walked around me, but it didn't seem to bother him. I hope he's okay come hunting season, because that kind of activity will get him into trouble. But there's lots of deer up here. It's a beautiful place. Look at this. Well, this has been a little bit of a shakedown cruise for us because we made some changes in the trailer, but we put on fancy wheels. I didn't put on fancy wheels because I wanted them so much. Well, I did, but but it was time to repaint our steel wheels for the third or fourth time, and they were rusty in the crevices, and I knew I needed to replace them. And pay no attention to this tire. It's a Trailer King RST. It's a D rating, and it's okay. They came with the rims. The rim and tire were a set, so I just bought them that way because we did need tires, but I'm not suggesting these tires. Our last tires were Trailer Kings, and they did okay. But I think next time I'm going with the Goodyear Endurance, or my local tire shop has a F rating tire, which is really stiff sidewall, so I'll look into that also. In this size wheel, a 15-inch, you can't get light truck tires, and from what I'm seeing online, watching videos, light truck tires actually are too soft in the sidewall, and you get too much sway on your trailer. So I wouldn't want that anyway. So got to stick with trailer tires. And then we added another 200 watts of solar to the roof. I'll put a link to the video on that. So we're testing out the solar also. And it's working out fine. But just things. Having the water jugs on the side and anchored in place like that helps with a problem we were having with loading. And that is that, well, hello, Linda.
Hello again.
We always had 5-gallon jugs back here just in front of the axles on the floor, and we put all our 1-gallon jugs there too. But then the motion of the trailer, they'd vibrate, and when we would open the trailer door, they'd all be sitting down here in the very front. So at least by having the water jugs on the outside, not only did we clean up most of this mess, but we also secured the load a bit. We still have a problem with loading though. Well, I won't say it's a problem, but because it isn't, but there's something else with loading that comes up here. And the thing is that our propane tanks, if you'll notice, there is one that's right on center line, and then the other one is just off to the side of center line here. So we've got a little right weight right there, right side weight. Then you'll notice down inside, the battery is just to the right of center line, and that's not too bad. The whatever power station we're using, or this EB70, this Blue Eddy here, is to the right of center line. I've got 1 gallon water jug storage down here, which is way to the right of center line. And then just recently for this trip, we used to have the refrigerator over there all the time, but it's much more convenient to be able to just reach in from the door and get into the refrigerator. So now the refrigerator is sitting totally on the right side. We need some weight over there. There's Linda. If she just stays there. Okay, Linda, hold on tight. We're going. We're trying to even it out a little bit, you know, get some weight over on the left side. One thing, when you build up a cargo trailer, when you convert it, it's never done. There's always something, and then you do something, and then you decide you don't like it, and you're ripping it out and doing something else. We've done that a few times or more.
This is our Winchester house.
The Winchester Mystery House.
Mystery house, yeah.
It's never done.
There's a road that goes down through this valley that way, and we want to go explore it.
We don't know if this goes a mile or 500 feet or what. It may just go down here and terminate. Here's what I was talking about in the video. There's trailers like this all over up here, and they're just parked waiting for the owners to show up on the weekend. In the meantime, here's a beautiful camp spot that no one else can use.
There's a water thing, a well.
Oh yeah. Oh, there's a spring here. Water coming right out of the ground, right down there. Oh, it's cold. I know that the spring on our own off-grid property comes out of the ground at 35 degrees year-round. And let me tell you, that's what this feels like. It's cold. That's a lot of water coming out of this spring. A lot. Well, that's quite a find already. Let's see what else is down this road, if anything. You can tell by how deep the ruts are that it gets pretty boggy in here in the springtime. It's dry now, though. Well, we've come to a fork in the road. Time to get the map out. Well, looking at the EarthMate here, this is part of our Garmin InReach. It shows that the right-hand fork goes up and joins with the main road, and the left-hand fork goes up the mountain and dead ends. Let's go travel that one and explore it a bit. Well, didn't get too far on this fork. They got the road closed down, as is the case with most of the National Forest roads these days. Most are closed down. Yeah, 20 years ago, all these roads were open, and you could go exploring up here to your heart's content. All the logging roads were all open and everything. Now they're all closed down, and only the main roads are still open. All the side roads are closed. There are, however, ATV roads and motorcycle roads. And there are roads that are just for motorcycles, and there are roads for ATVs and motorcycles. And those are on the map and listed as such. You can do a lot of riding up here still, just not on what used to be the common roads, they're closed. Okay, well that road came out here and now it joined the main road like I saw on the map. We'll go cruise down it and see what we can find. Well, I just had to stop. And I was looking out the window, I was thinking, this is the kind of place where the moose like to hang out. All boggy down here with the water flowing through, and I looked at the map. It's called Moose Creek. We've seen the moose hanging around up here in the little belts. Get a lot of animals, moose, elk, white-tailed deer, mule deer, black bear, mountain lions, coyotes, wolves. We got them all. Okay, as compared to Dry Creek. I guess there's such a thing as both. Let's go down and find a way down to the creek and see what it looks like.
Yeah, I wonder what that sign is to say.
I don't know.
Oops.
Of course, anytime you're walking through our woods, you got to make plenty of noise. Let the bears know you're coming. Me talking loud, that's noise enough. There's fish in these here streams. You can tell we get high winds. That tree is about 14, 15 inches in diameter and it was snapped off like a toothpick. Linda's concerned about these trees. They're very thin. There's a dead one right above us here. And even the tall ones don't look so guaranteed. That's probably why they snap off in the wind so easy. That's a wild rose. One thing you can find up here in places is wild strawberries, and they are incredible. They only get to be about the size of a pea, but talk about sweet and a full, rich strawberry flavor, better than anything you find in the stores. But it takes you a while to pick a handful.
Well, there were moose around. One left his calling card.
He did?
Well, a while ago.
Oh yeah. Moose scat. Well, here's a campfire ring. Be a nice place to pitch a tent. Well, this is Moose Creek Campground. This is the back of it. It's $15 a night or $7.50 a night if you've got a Golden Age pass. There is one campsite taken. But you know what? We just drove down here, I don't know, we just drove about 10 miles or so, or 15 miles coming down this way. And every dispersed camping spot that we've come to, every single one is already taken. But this Pay Campground has got a few sites. Nice spot in the woods here. Well, this is what happens when you drive down a dusty, dirty road. Oh man, I guess I'll try sweeping it off with a broom. Because we cook back here, so it's not nice to have all this dust and dirt on the bumper. This is a typical dispersed camping spot out here in the West. You don't see these back east so much because this is public land, you know, like Bureau of Land Management, BLM, and National Forest. This is National Forest. But the way you know it's an okay place to camp is there's going to be, this is just a fire ring that there's probably been a fire ring here for the last 100 years, you know what I mean? But basically that lets you know that you're in a spot where you're allowed to be, because you're not allowed to just drive off across the meadow and camp anywhere you want. You're not allowed to make new dispersed camping spots. So you got the fire ring, because this, you know, the grass grows in the spring and it kind of covers up the tracks. But the fire ring is what lets you know that this is a spot. So basically anywhere you see a fire ring like that, you're okay to camp. And this is within this camping spot of ours here. This I know with this wide angle lens, this looks like 100 feet, but it's actually only about 30 feet here from the fire ring to the trailer. Not too much telling you that you can come in here. The road, the dirt road is probably 100 or 200 feet out where I'm pointing. So you could drive in here to this spot. If that campfire ring wasn't behind me, you wouldn't be allowed to drive in here to this spot. You'd have to look it up on National Forest rules, but if there is no fire ring, then you have to stay within, you'd have to, like I say, you have to look this up. It's like 50 to 75 feet of the established road. That's only as far off the road as you can go. Well, I think Linda and I are going to end this video here and take the rest of the afternoon off. Make some coffee and kick back and relax.
Have some lunch.
Have some lunch. Hey, we've been doing this for quite a few years, making videos on travel and camping and how-to videos. Be sure to check those out too.
Yeah, we have a lot of videos up, so look for our other videos. You might find them interesting.
You just might or might not. Anyways, see you around.